On to some news that's not so good, away from party politics. British boxing and Nigerian star Anthony Joshua was involved in a road accident on Monday along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway near Sagamu, resulting in 2 fatalities, that's according to the local police. The former 2-time heavyweight champion sustained only minor injuries and was taken to a hospital for medical attention. The police confirmed the crash occurred after a tyre burst, causing the vehicle Joshua was traveling in to lose control and collide with a stationary truck. Anthony Joshua was seated in the back of the vehicle at the time of the accident. Authorities say investigations are ongoing, with an official police statement expected as fans await further updates on Joshua's condition. And I'm being joined by News Central sports editor Babatunde Koiki from our Lagos studio to discuss how the sporting fraternity is seeing the fatal accident. Tunde? Babatunde, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Nyota?
Yes, I can hear you. So what's the sports world? I know that there's been a lot of reaction on social media and from around the world, but what are the vibes you're getting from the sporting family about this accident?
Well, it's been one of shock all across the world. The fact that this happened and he seemed to be injured was also met with a lot of trepidation by a lot of people. Initially, nobody was sure exactly to the extent of his injuries, but when videos started circulating online where he seemed to be extricated from the damaged vehicle, grimacing in pain, but obviously without any seemingly major injuries, I think the whole world, the whole boxing world heaved a collective sigh of relief. But unfortunately, 2 of his very close associates tragically lost their lives in the accident. What saved Anthony Joshua was he seemed to have been sitting directly behind the driver, while the other 2 gentlemen who were in the passenger side in front and the back bore the tremendous brunt of the accident and were killed instantly on the spot. Their bodies have been evacuated to a live morgue, while we hear that Joshua and the driver were also taken to an undisclosed hospital. Unconfirmed reports say that Joshua might be flown out of Nigeria tonight in order to receive further medical examination and care. But like you said, but like you asked, the collective response from across the world is one of a collective sigh of relief.
Okay, so the other question, I mean, everyone had just been very excited about Joshua's return to the ring and to winning ways. And then he also seeing that and knowing that in recent times, Joshua had always talked about his Nigerian roots and how much he loves to spend, especially during the festive periods. This is least suspected that this could be happening to Joshua. But what do you think can be done in terms of ensuring that this kind of incident, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't know what the truck parked by the roadside looked like if there were any signs at all around that area, because there are caution signs that are supposed to be placed at least 50 meters from that truck. What kind of information do you have about that?
From what we were told, the truck was not parked directly on the expressway or the highway. It was parked on the hard shoulder. It was definitely not an obstacle on the highway. It was parked off the major highway on the hard shoulder. Now, if you've ever driven on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway or any of the major highways in Nigeria, what happens is it's the slowest vehicles who drive on the fast lane, leaving people trying to overtake on the slow lane. Now, we're not exactly sure if the driver was trying to perform an overtaking maneuver, but what we do hear from the official sources, including the Traffic Enforcement and Compliance Agency of Ogun State, TRACE, and the FRSC, was that the tire of the SUV that Joshua was traveling in ruptured at high speed. They have blamed over speeding for this particular incident. And when in the case where there's overspeeding, there's usually loss of control of the vehicle. And unfortunately, that was what happened. Now, in order to probably mitigate or prevent these kind of issues from happening, there must be strict compliance and enforcement on traffic rules. It is the outer lane, the outermost lane, the one closest to the median, is meant for faster vehicles who are trying to move along as quickly as possible. Major trucks, articulated vehicles, heavy-duty machinery, always seem to hug that side of the road, which shouldn't be. Then there should always be clearly delineated signs showing that this vehicle is parked or is definitely not moving, so that drivers can also see that and also take precaution as well. Then there's also very interesting fact that it was the emergency services, the ambulances didn't get there on time. It was the police who must be commended. We heard that they got there as within minutes of the accident. We don't know for certain if they were passing by or they were alerted, but we must commend them as well. They got there as quickly as possible. The Federal Road Safety Commission was also involved. The Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Agency of Ogun State, all three agencies collaborated to ensure that Anthony Joshua was extricated as quickly as possible. And there was also a lot of goodwill from onlookers and pedestrians who saw exactly what happened. But there must also be a very important case for cordoning off these accident zones. There were more mobile phones trying to catch a recording of Anthony Joshua than people who are trying to help. Which should it be? It's very important that agency services must be on top of their game. Every time, fortunately, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is one that is quite prone to a lot of vehicular accidents. Every day in the news we hear 10 died, 5 died, head-on collision. It is an appalling situation, considering the fact that it's one of the busiest highways in Nigeria, and always particularly prone to accidents. So the emergency services must be on their game. They must also learn how to manage accident scenes as properly as possible. Evacuation for injured and the dead must also be conducted as speedily and as professionally as possible.
But Tunde, if I may come in here, Tunde, there are two things you've mentioned that are very vital. Tunde, if I may come in here, two things you've mentioned that are major areas of concern, especially in the area of use of Nigerian roads. One is the lane discipline and education. At what level of speed do you need to move from the outer lane to the inner lane to the service lane? How do you maneuver that and move? That's one side. The other matter is the matter of emergency situations and the use of the mobile phones, not just on the expressway, in every part of the country. I mean, we saw online at one time a young man that helped a woman deliver a baby around Ojota area in Lagos, and he was screaming for help, but nobody was coming to help him. But you found people all around filming with their phones. What do we do in terms of education to change these situations?
Nyota, unfortunately, the story of the average Nigerian has led to one to believe that it is only brute force that people understand. I'm sorry, it's shown that many times, without question, that is the only thing that they understand. Take, for instance, the Ojota bus stop, popular Ojota bus stop in Lagos. It is only when there are soldiers and Black Marias, as we call them, stationed at that bus stop do you see a mad rush for the two pedestrian bridges. Any other day, you see people doing a 100-meter dash across multiple lanes in trying to get from one side of the road to the other. There was another day many years ago where a vehicle plunged into the Lagos Lagoon on 3rd Mainland Bridge. The traffic extended from the Unilag waterfront all the way to Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Now, if you're familiar with Lagos, that's a distance of almost, maybe 14, 20 kilometers. And it was caused predominantly by people who were parking on the bridge trying to get a glimpse of the vehicle and the extrication process. So Nigerians must stop this rubbernecking, trying to look at situations or trying to be viral or trying to live stream everything. If you cannot help, if you're not in a position to render any kind of help, you must move on as quickly as possible in order to ensure that the road is as free as possible. Unfortunately, what I suspect might happen is that we might need to start arresting and prosecuting people for, I don't know, for anything, but maybe even obstruction of justice, obstruction of emergency services. That might really bring an end to this scourge, because it's becoming a rather unfortunate phenomenon. When accidents happen, the vast majority of the people on the scene, probably 7 out of 10 people on the scene, are people with mobile phones trying to catch glimpses and recordings of everything that has happened.
All right. Thank you so much, Tunde. Thank you. We do hope that Joshua comes out of this much, much better and real quick too, so that he gets back to his game and gets back to living, first of all. And our condolences to those that have lost loved ones in that accident. Thank you, Tunde.